It is the Chris Baker radio program, and just get things started, we're joined by the brand new head of the Republican Party of Minnesota, Tony Sutton. Tony, first of all, congratulations on your tremendous victory.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being on the show.
Well, it's great to have you, and wow, it seems to me that your work is cut out for you with a very important 2010 election cycle. You got to have 8 congressional seats, the full legislature on the line. Are you going to get any sleep between now and then?
I don't think so. You know, the challenges are great, but the opportunities are great as well, and I'm very optimistic.
All right, so there's a big battle going on right now when we talk about politics between Republicans who are so-called moderates. I hate using these labels, but I'm going to have to use them just to define where we are. Between moderates and so-called Reagan conservatives. What do you think's a better direction for the party?
I think the party's got to get back to its principles. I mean, look, when you think about it, people vote Republican because they want people in office who support limited government, fiscal responsibility, lower taxes, less spending. That's what they want when they vote Republican. When they don't vote Republican, it's usually because we've drifted away from those principles. And if you look at the last few years before the Democrats took over the Congress, the party of fiscal responsibility was spending money like crazy in Washington. The party of limited government oversaw the largest expansion of government in American history until Barack Obama. And it's no wonder we lost credibility with a lot of right-of-center voters. And that we've got to regain that credibility. Once we do that, we'll start winning elections again.
Now, do you think that your fellow Republicans are ready to take the slings and arrows of being good conservatives, limited government, lower taxes? Because the usual thing that happens is we hear, we're going to starve children, we're going to take away health care, we're going to, basically, it's almost as if they predict that we'll go through town with big swords lopping off heads.
Well, I think that our challenge is really to articulate to people how our philosophy of limited government is going to make their lives better, that it's better to lower taxes and put more money out in the economy to create private sector jobs that will last rather than have the government create some make-work jobs that won't last. And that ultimately their lives are going to be better served with lower taxes, less spending, and limited government. That'll actually help make people's lives better. And we've got to do a better job of articulating that. And that's going to be part of my challenge, is to put together a slate of candidates who can do that.
Tony Sutton with us. He's the new head of the Minnesota Republican Party. Tony, many conservatives or Republicans that I talk to on my radio show, many of them express a frustration with Republicans seem to not fight back when allegations of racism are thrown at them or allegations of your typical intolerance are thrown at them. They don't really fight back. In other words, some people believe that Republicans are very good managers. They're horrible marketers. And my question would be, first of all, do you perceive the same thing? And two, if so, what would you do about it?
Well, I don't think it's any secret that the Democrats have a lot of creative people on their side. I think that's probably why they dominate Hollywood when it comes to marketing and things like that. But I think that we're going to get better at it. I think we have an advantage, Chris. When you walk down the street and you ask people, are you liberal or conservative, more people are going to say conservative than liberal. We have the advantage that people live their lives conservatively. Most people are responsible, hardworking people, and the Republican Party really is the party of people who work. And we have to do a better job of marketing who we are and get past the stereotypes. And we also have to be unafraid, unabashed about it, and not worry if we're going to take a few slings and arrows from the Star Tribune editorial board or the wine and cheese crowd the liberal elites are going to try and paint us a certain way. I'm more concerned about the family up in Anoka County trying to balance the family checkbook and than I am about what some liberals down at the Star Tribune think.
Tony Sutton with us. He's the new head of the Minnesota Republican Party. Some people have questions about the Republican Party and reaching out to minority voters. As an example, school vouchers is very popular with minority parents, yet it seems that when the going gets tough, Republicans in general will sometimes shy away from taking a strong stance on this. How are you going to reach out to minority voters?
Well, I think school choice is definitely one of the things that we can use to reach out to minority voters, because I think everybody wants to make sure their kids have the best possible education. And the fact that the liberals oppose school choice is because the teachers unions have a death grip on the Democratic Party, and quite frankly, that's an area where we can have an opportunity to articulate that we want people to be able to choose schools. That will create better competition. For some reason, Democrats don't like competition. They don't like it when you hold them accountable and you try and expect better results. You know, when it comes to education, people in this country want good education for their children, everybody, regardless of race or background. But we really wonder sometimes if we're getting the value for the dollar. That we spend more and more money every single year on education. Are we really getting the value?
Tony Sutton with us. He's the new head of the Minnesota Republican Party. Tony, you're the guy, you're in charge, you're the head guy in the Republican Party. What changes do you want to make? What changes do you see that need to be made?
Well, there's a lot of changes. I mean, we've got to be more vocal in articulating our message, be more bold about it. We've also got to be better organized, the nuts and bolts of winning elections. And it's not glamorous stuff, Chris, but it's important, how we do our lists and recruit our candidates and support them. And we're going to be changing a lot of things. We have a better message for folks, more powerful message for folks, and we are promoting it much more strongly, and that we're backing these candidates in ways that we haven't done in recent times.
What about the candidate selection process? Is that going to stay pretty much the same, or are you going to start looking outside of the traditional avenues where you draw candidates from?
Well, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to strengthen the endorsing process so that candidates know that in order to be the Republican Party candidate, you have to be endorsed. There's no getting around the delegates and going to a primary, that we will defeat anybody who challenges our candidates in a primary. And that way, it'll strengthen the grassroots, it'll strengthen the activist base, it'll actually make our candidates more accountable so we don't have that philosophical drift that we've experienced in recent times. And we are going to be searching long and hard for I believe in a multiplicity of candidates. I believe that whether it's the local legislative seat or the campaign for governor, I want there to be 3, 4, 5, 6 people seeking that office. I believe competition will bring out the best in candidates. No more coronations, no more the first person who raises their hand, we're going to rally behind them. I want competition, and I want there to be vigorous campaign for these endorsements.